Hi, I'm Natalie McGuire from St. Paul, Minnesota. I was one of the few blessed artists or photographers that got accepted into the Photo Gallery this year in 2021. Truly humbled and honored to be here, and loving the fact that Pamela and Eileen are giving us, or Elaine's giving us the opportunity to talk about our art. My image was Danger, and that is a digital infrared image. I had one of my cameras converted, and as I was walking the Mississippi River bluffs in St. Paul, we have tons of trails. I came across this sign and I found it ironic that it didn't heed to its own warning. So, of course, I took it with my cell phone originally, and then I went back at a later date with my camera and found the spot again and had to capture it. And it's just one of my favorite images. I love shooting in infrared, and with that, the infrared, I chose to do that back in 2017, to shoot all black and white, void of color. And if you look over my shoulder, you see I'm also a mixed media artist. I do mosaics and photography. So the behind me are what I call photosaics. And that challenge I wanted to do was do a straight black and white frame where it forced me to look at just the textures, the highlights and lowlights, and just the different tones. So that's where I got reintroduced into my the infrared series. And now I almost prefer it over the color, which now I'm kind of trying to force myself to back into color. But to be a part of this photo gallery and with all these great photographers, it's such a great experience. I'm so happy and blessed.
The work behind you is that uh, it looks like it might be resin coated, or is that an acrylic? I'm just
No,
curious
it's
about
stained
that.
glass.
Oh, it is.
It is a hand cut. Hold on one second. I'll pull one and bring it in closer. Mixed media, and what started with this is a close-up. That is all hand cut and tumbled stained glass
Wow.
that I'm trying to bring the essence of the photograph out onto the frame.
Hmm.
And
So
so
you're
this is
combining, that's the digital image, and then you've
yes, that's the photograph matting, and then this is the frame. It's a 3-inch wide frame.
Interesting concept.
It
Yeah.
is. It's I've been doing this for over 20 years. You can thank a horsefly for this. I was picking agates on the North Shore of Lake Superior, and those little buggers will take hunks of meat out of your skin.
Yeah.
Anyways, the damn thing forced me into Lake Superior. As I looked down, I saw this section of just really weirdly shaped rocks with a kind of that light beam going through. And I looked down, I'm like, God, that's really cool. And I had my film camera at that time slung over my shoulder. I took a picture of it. And as I raised my head, I had this epiphany: rocks in the photograph, rocks in the frame, something you can see, touch, and feel. So and from there, it tumbled into driftwood, acorn, pine cones. I actually dried daisies once.
Yeah. So you're really reimagining the first photograph into the frame
Exactly.
itself.
And I used to do mosaic candle holders. So, and it was just a natural progression for me to marry the two. And I really like to bring the essence of the photograph out into the frame. And for me, growing up, my parents, I'm the odd kid in my family. I am like the only creative one. So I don't think the same as anybody else. So when I'm looking at these frames my parents put in the house and then their photos, they didn't put any thought into the frame. And that just always bothered me. So I always laugh. I'm like, yeah, I grew up in an ugly frame house, so it can, help feel this as well. But no, it's just I do both. I do make sure it depends on what the exhibit is looking for. These are, I have been told, 10 times better in person than they are online. People go nuts for them. And I do remake them, but they all have their own personalities.
Okay, question. This wasn't supposed to be an interview, but I'm curious.
That's okay. Interview away. I'm okay with that.
My next question is: do you see any reincarnation of your Danger photograph? Because that has so many elements in it that could be so much fun to play with. With what you're saying.
I'm actually working on that in one of my photosaics, but I'm kind of hung up on it right now because I want to make it perfect. So I do have the black glass, the shadows put down. So I'm in the process of trying to make sure I'm cutting the other color glasses, and I'm having to do them each individually. Normally I'll take a section and butter the frame and then glue it down. This time around, I'm actually taking the colors of glass and putting them in the areas that they need to go. And then I'll be going in and keep filling in. So, but yes, I do plan on doing that. I am working on that in the process. I keep going back and checking on that image. There's actually 3 of them. And I just kind of like, okay, how can I photograph it? Because last time was getting overgrown. So I kind of had to pull the weeds back and kind of, kitty wampus a leg up to hold a tree stump, take a picture. People are driving by, just kind of giving me this weird look like, what is she doing? So, but yes, I do have a plan to make that into one of my photosacks. I actually do a series of black and white images as well. And I love them. They look great. So.
It's great. I figured you were. You're so passionate about it, you had to.